Let me ask you something uncomfortable. What if I told you that the most powerful force in American politics isn't the president, or Congress, or the Supreme Court, but a group of individuals and organizations whose names you've never heard, whose faces you'll never see, and whose influence you're never meant to detect? What if the real political power in America is not public, but purchased? Because somewhere right now, behind a closed door, behind tinted windows, behind legal walls built specifically to protect anonymity, someone is deciding what issues you'll see on the news next month. What stories will trend? What candidates will rise, and which ones will mysteriously collapse? This phenomenon has a name. But it's whispered more often than it's spoken: dark money. Money that influences elections, without ever publicly revealing who wrote the check. It moves like smoke, everywhere and nowhere, shaping public opinion without leaving fingerprints. And no, this is not the part where I tell you to wear a tinfoil hat. If anything, dark money is too boring on the surface, which is exactly why it's so effective. Today, we are not dealing with conspiracy. We are dealing with legal structures, Supreme Court rulings, and financial systems that quietly allow billions of dollars to flow through American politics, unseen. So the real question isn't, is dark money real? The real question is, who uses it? How does it work? And how much of American politics is shaped by people with more money than most of us will ever see in a lifetime, ****. That's the mystery we're about to unpack. To understand why dark money exists, we need to travel back to a single legal decision that changed everything: Citizens United v. FEC, 2010. With one ruling, the Supreme Court determined that spending money to influence elections is a form of protected speech. And just like that, the floodgates opened. To understand why dark money exists, we need to travel back to a single legal decision that changed everything: Citizens United v. FEC, 2010. With one ruling, the Supreme Court determined that spending money to influence elections is a form of protected speech. And just like that, the floodgates opened. The key loophole: nonprofits are allowed to spend money on social welfare *. Funny thing is, what counts as social welfare can include public education campaigns, which can include political ads, which can target millions of voters. Perfectly legal. Perfectly opaque. Let's pause. Imagine trying to explain this to your grandparents at Thanksgiving. Yeah, Grandpa, technically anyone can donate unlimited money to influence the election, and no, we don't get to know who they are, past the mashed potatoes. Dark money groups don't operate alone. They are part of networks, constellations of nonprofits, think tanks, foundations, and super PACs. Individually, they seem harmless. Together, they form a machine capable of shaping national conversation. Think of it like political inception. A nonprofit funds a think tank. The think tank produces a study. A media outlet reports the study. A political ad uses the report. A candidate cites the ad. All funded by the same source, the source you'll never know. But the scariest part: dark money groups don't even need candidates to win. Sometimes they spend money simply to lower trust, increase division, or suppress turnout, because chaos itself can be profitable. And if that sounds wild, wait. Because what's coming next isn't about how dark money works. It's about who uses it. And why they prefer the shadows. Let's get this out of the way. Dark money is not a Republican invention. It is not a Democratic invention. It is a political tool, one that any party, any corporation, any billionaire can use if they have the money, and the motive. And the motive is simple: influence. Passing legislation. Defeating opponents. Shaping public narratives. Influencing courts. Protecting business interests. Changing the national mood. All without saying, "Hi, I paid for this." Beneath every election, beneath every Supreme Court confirmation, beneath every major policy debate, there is an invisible war, a war of funding, messaging, and influence that voters never see, but always feel. Before this sounds too dramatic, let me remind you. You're not in danger. Well, except economically, politically, socially, legally, culturally, environmentally, but other than that, you're totally fine. The biggest consequence of dark money isn't corruption. It's visibility. The less you know about who is influencing your government, the less power you have to understand why policies look the way they do. Dark money doesn't change democracy. It obscures it. And this leads us to the final, uncomfortable question. If dark money shapes elections, and elections shape the country, then who is shaping the country in ways we cannot see? The truth is, there is no single puppet master. No one billionaire. No one corporation. No one mastermind pulling every string. What exists instead is a marketplace, a system where influence can be bought quietly, anonymously, and legally. And the players simply come and go. So no, American politics is not controlled by one secret villain. It's influenced by a system that rewards money over transparency, power over visibility, and shadows over sunlight. And understanding that system is the first step in understanding the world we're living in. If you want a follow-up episode where we break down the most influential dark money networks, the legal loopholes they rely on, and how journalists trace the untraceable, drop a comment below. Until then, remember, democracy isn't just about voting. It's about knowing who else is in the room when the votes are cast.